Welcome into the PHNX Cardinals podcast presented by the Draftkings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Chierstin Susel here with Johnny Venerable and the one and only Frank Sanders coming to you live from the golf course. Where else? What's going on, guys?
Where else is right? Oh, no. Frank, can you hear us?
Hey, how we doing? I know, right?
Say something, Frank.
I can hear you just fine, yeah. It's always when we start that this happens.
Frank might have to make a beeline back to the clubhouse, Chierstin. We might have to get.
He's on a delay.
What happened? We were doing so good.
We might have to get Mr. Sanders back inside.
Okay.
You're on a delay now, Frank.
Okay, I'll get closer.
Okay.
Well,
I'll get closer. Let's see if we can make it happen.
So
this is for our viewers at home. This is my fault because I said, can we go remote because it's a Friday and I'm traveling tomorrow, and then of course, you know, just fun things ensue on a Friday.
Frank's
Logan says if
you never know what you're gonna get with Frank.
I'm trying,
Frank,
man. This is crazy.
Hey, that sounds good.
This is
You
better?
look good. You sound good. Why don't you just stay right where you're at?
Yeah, just hold your computer up right there.
Okay,
I'll
well,
just hold it up.
let's
We're
start
good.
out. Frank, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but we've got a graphic for you going because Tuesday is the day. It's going to be the show, the one where Frank gets a tattoo live on the PHNX Cardinals podcast. It's December 7th, 6 p.m. Top Rocker Tattoo is going to come to the PHNX studio and give Frank a Cliff Kingsbury K2 tattoo live on our show. And we also want to let you know that big thanks to Top Rocker Tattoo because they're doing this for free. They're helping Frank out, and they're also giving you guys a promo code. If you use the code PHNX, then you can get 10% off of your next tattoo.
Oh,
how about that, Frank?
I love that. I love that. I'm so excited about the moment. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know about all this face tattoo stuff here, but I am looking forward to the moment of finally getting it done, keeping my word. Look, Cliff has been absolutely fabulous in every manner. And I know I was on the bandwagon of last week talking about he's out of here. He's taking a jet going someplace else. I'm done with that conversation. I believe he's here for the Cardinals consistently. I'm going to get my K2 tattoo. I'm going to add a crown on top of it, though. That's the goal, to add a crown on top and get the PHN at the bottom so it'll represent Cliff properly because he has definitely been a king in regards to changing his entire format of what he did the last couple of years, and it's been very impressive.
We love it. It's officially happening. The countdown is on. Are you going to cry, Frank? I hope not.
I'm actually excited about it. I really am. I'm really excited about it. I think, we talked about it, about 3 weeks ago, and now we're at this position. We've gone through a bye week. We won again, and we're getting all our players back, getting ready to go to Chicago. So I'm really excited about it, and I think it's deserving. We talked about, what needed to happen to make the season be extremely special for us to do something crazy. Chierstin's probably going to get she's probably going to get a nose ring. Johnny's going to go get maybe some tattoos, some nipple rings or something like that. That's what it takes.
Can the internet go out again on Frank's computer? I'm asking for a friend.
No, but I'm excited. The Cardinals are 9-2, man. This is I know we went to the Super Bowl before, but to be 9-2 right now, fresh start. Quarterback is young, but he's electric. We got all the pieces. The team looks like they're coming back to be pretty healthy and getting ready to go on the road and hopefully come back with another W and continually build toward a great season.
All right. Speaking of healthy, Logan Riley immediately jumping on here saying, if I drive to Chicago and Hop or Murray aren't playing, I'll riot. No way they don't play, ... right? All right. Well, that leads us into our Friday's 4 downs, which is Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins will be game time decisions. Cliff Kingsbury, 0-2 with the Cardinals after the bye, so he's looking to get that monkey off of his back. Cardinals are undefeated on the road this year, which is good. They're looking at a potential franchise record here, or tying a franchise record here if they win on Sunday. And weather could play a big factor in this game. It's expected to be cold, rainy, and windy in the Windy City. So first and foremost, I was mentioning it earlier in this week when Kyler came out and was limited on Wednesday, and I was like, what in the heck? We all wanted Cliff to come out, first off, for Kyler to be a full go in practice, DeAndre Hopkins to be a full go in practice, and then please, can we just get a definitive answer? We just wanted them this week to say, yes, they're going to play unless we get to Sunday and there's been a setback of some sort. Kyler Murray is going to play. DeAndre Hopkins is going to play. We haven't gotten that. I don't know if it's them just kind of playing the game here and they're not going to, show their cards or whatever. But, man, the fans all just wanted to hear that DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray were going to return.
Yeah, super frustrating. I don't think the weather that's set to take place Sunday in Chicago is helping much. 80% chance of precipitation, maybe sub 40-degree temperatures. So can you adequately cut on those injured parts? That being both of their lower extremities. We've got confirmation from Cliff Kingsbury that's a high ankle sprain that Kyler Murray suffered some 4 weeks ago, and then DeAndre Hopkins, of course, the hamstring. To me, and we talked about this, Chierstin, earlier this week, less about Hopkins getting into a rhythm and more about Kyler Murray. Can you expect Kyler Murray to play quality football down the stretch when he's missed 4, 5, 6 weeks, if that's what ends up happening? That's why I think this is kind of just hearsay right now. I really do believe Kyler is good to go. He's been posting a bunch of cryptic stuff per usual on social media, Instagram, about like patience has been key, and he's been out there. This is his second consecutive practice week where he hasn't missed a practice yet. Hopkins did miss today, but it was load management, according to Cliff, just trying to be quote unquote smart. So I would say, if I venture a guess right now, I put this on Twitter, I think both are active. I think Kyler, of course, starts and plays the whole game. I think Hopkins is active but limited, just to get his bearings about him. The Cardinals have just such a robust receiving core that, they don't need Hopkins to beat Chicago. Now, you want to talk about LA a week from Monday, maybe that's a different story against Jalen Ramsey and company. But I would be shocked, utterly shocked, if Kyler Murray doesn't play on Sunday afternoon.
I definitely expect Kyler to play. I like the weather situation. Honestly, what I do love about the game plan, I think it will probably be more of a running game where you can get JC out there, Connor, get our O-line back together. Make this kind of like a grindy kind of game. You don't have to throw the ball a whole bunch, but JC gets back. The offensive line kind of brings back that connection. They become physical, and then they just basically dominate the entire game. I like that they're playing Andy Dalton. That's good because then our D-line can just go at them and have no concerns about that. So the weather's not a big concern to me because I know that our offensive team, that they can put up 100 yards rushing against teams when they wanted to. They can become a very physical team, which is kind of crazy when you're looking at a team that typically puts together a 3 and 4 wide receiver package. The play action pass and those things definitely will be a benefit to us. So I like the weather because it takes a little bit more stress off having to have a wonderful performance in bringing DeAndre back and having to throw the ball 30 and 40 times a game. I don't see that having to be the
Frank,
need. Go ahead.
Frank, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Having played in Arizona, is there a little bit of a shock to the system when you go and play your first game in cold weather situation of the season? Because so far they haven't been tested much really in that way. Cleveland was cold to my standards because I came from Arizona, but we're talking about getting down to close to 30 degrees potentially. If there's close to freezing cold rain on the field as well, I mean, it's their worst weather situation. So is there anything to say about the fact that it's just the first time they will have experienced it this season?
Well, it will be a shock for a little bit, but honestly, what happens is crazy. The mindset is this here. We need to get this win and get the hell out of here. Focus for 60 minutes and let's get this win and get the hell out of here. And I think sometimes that really helps the guys a little bit better. And the only thing that would be a shock to the system is really cold rain, because we don't get rain a lot. So if it's wet and it's raining and it's cold, that might be a shock to the system. But if it's just cold, the guys will be fine, because
I'd rather it be a blizzard than it be cold rain, because you can't stay. It's so hard to stay warm when you're just wet and cold. That's the worst combination of weather.
Yeah, especially when you're just sitting on the side. You're just sitting there in the rain. You know, you can put your raincoat over, but you got to keep taking it off. That would be the only difference. A cold rain would be the difference. But if it's just cold for the guys, they'll have the seat warmers typically, and then they'll also have the that was like the big jet blower on the side of the field side where they can go they can warm themselves up. But cold weather, typically most teams like us, we would go some places and have a pretty good game, because the mindset, it just changes. You want to get the win, you want to be effective, you want to get your job done and come off the field so you can get to that heater. And once you get to that heater, it feels like Arizona a little bit.
Well, before we move on with our Friday's Four Downs, I want to take a moment to say that the Cardinals are 7.5-point favorites in this game.
Okay.
And my Draftkings Sportsbook app pick of the week has got to be the Cardinals, because the Bears, let's be honest, they stink, although they are playing for that last wild card spot. So they're still playing for something. And if it's a cold and rainy weather situation, I feel like with those games, you never know. All it takes is, one play to swing in, a certain direction. But
True.
For sure, my DraftKings Sportsbook app pick of the week, I'm taking the Cardinals money line. I don't think there's any way they come out of the bye refreshed, ready to go, and aren't able to get this one done, especially against a team like the Bears. If you want to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, please do so using the promo code PHNX. If you bet $1 on any football game, you're going to get free $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. So again, that's using the code PHNX when you sign up for the DraftKings Sportsbook app. But as always, it's 21 and over, Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. All right, let's move along with our Friday's Four Downs. We also mentioned that, and we've mentioned it all week, that Cliff Kingsbury is 0-2 with the Cardinals after the bye. He did say today that they have seemed super refreshed and full of energy this week, which is a good sign. I don't know why you wouldn't be. All things considered, you're the top team in the league right now, and you had some holiday time, you got some extra time to rest and recover, and everything right now is really their fate is in their own hands.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no excuse to not come out and play good football, given the fact that they're coming off a really nice win at Seattle. They have a lot of guys, as you mentioned, Chierstin, returning, you would assume, off the injury list, not only for the offensive side of the ball, but defensively, like they should get, knock on wood, Xavier Collins back 100%. I did see that. Max Garcia, full participant. Looks like they're going to hold out Justin Pugh at left guard until a week from Monday on Monday Night Football, which I think is the right. I don't think you need to rush back such a key cog in Pugh.
Well, he's a game time decision as well as of now. So I think they were going to kind of just. I mean, Cliff didn't want to show his cards at all. So he was another guy that they said we'll see on tomorrow. How things are, and then assess from there.
I know we're all frustrated with the Murray Hopkins situation to some degree, but I think we're going to look at this team, knock on wood, in like 2 to 3 weeks as we're looking really a definitive postseason seeding. Cardinals are going to be one of the healthiest teams, barring something unforeseen, going into the playoffs. And that is just such a farce compared to what we've seen like of the Bruce Arians teams that were always beat up at the end of the year. It seemed like they limped health-wise to the finish line. So, like, we're frustrated. They're still winning. I commend the front office for, number one, building this kind of depth so that they're able to withstand this kind of adversity. And then also for guys just coming out and saying, like, I need a week off. And so you have plug and play guys up front on both lines of scrimmage, defensive, offensive line. Their secondary has been, relatively deep with interchangeable pieces, Buddha and Jalen playing a little bit of corner. So I think it's going to help them, not only the fact that they're going to be healthier, but they've stretched a lot of this roster to the point where like a ton of guys got experience in playing time. And that's opposite compared to some of their divisional peers like Seattle and LA that are just so top heavy, and they'll be exploited because of it.
Yeah, this is a great time for the team. We watched our team struggle. We can go back the last 4 games and watch like little pieces started, trickling away from what would have been a great puzzle. We see D-Hops with the hamstring. We see AJ come out with COVID. We have guys that have COVID protocol situations. We start getting one guy back and another guy leaves. And so I think the bye came at a perfect time for this team to kind of rejuvenate itself, come back together. And right now, I agree with you, JV. Moving forward, this at this time right now would be a perfect resting spot for the guys now to revamp themselves, refocus, become, physically they should be healthy, but it's more about the mental part right now because it's the last stretch, the grind where you can't make mistakes and you got to play 4 quarters of football. So hopefully these guys mentally is just as refreshed as we would hope them to be physically. And I think, the bye right now should be, what these guys do this coming up versus Chicago Bears should be they should go out and just demonstrate that they are a better team from top to bottom, coaching-wise as well as player-wise.
I feel like once they got, not that you want it to happen, but after the Panthers loss, I feel like that was the one wake-up call. Like, they'll never need it again, right? Whenever you're heavy favorites against a team that has no business beating you and you lose one game to a team that had no business beating you, don't need to learn that lesson ever again. Got it, understood. And right. I don't think they're ever going to go into a game again. And listen, I am a little bit concerned about the weather because I just feel like some of those games, just odd things can happen. It might get done raining before kickoff even begins. So we'll see. But if it's like super rainy and it's just an odd game, I feel like it can make things interesting. But in terms of like focus and motivation for this game, there's no way they're overlooking the Bears, and they're well aware of what's at stake. And I'll be excited to hopefully see Kyler and D-Hop back on the field. And Johnny, we mentioned it earlier in the week. The best thing that could happen is knock some of that rust off before you head to LA, right? Because that LA game is so important, and they know, get in, get out, get your business done. Don't let this one be an oops game because you've got LA next. It's a division game. LA is going to be fighting for their lives. So, the Cardinals are in a really good spot right now.
You want to be peaking at the right time. Go ahead, Frank.
Let me add this right here. I think that this is actually a great game. And the game plan should be to be 100% physical, to be a downhill running team, to just literally go out and smash mouth football. And here's the reason why. Because we have LA next, what'd be beautiful is that if they go to Chicago and punish them just how San Francisco went out and punished the Rams, and they just physically dominated them with a running game, and they pounded the ball down their throat, that the Rams will understand that the Cardinals have the power to do the exact same thing that the San Francisco 49ers did to them, but we're better. We're better in all aspects we're better football team in all aspects. But we're going to come out and punish the Chicago Bears with a running game. And then we're going to show you guys the exact same thing that you saw versus San Francisco 49ers, but we're better at doing it. And I think that would be a hell of a game plan just to come out versus the Bears and do. So it would set the tone, preparing that mindset that's exactly what we're going to do to the Rams.
So I do want to bring up one notable name on the injury report that hadn't been there all week long, and that's Byron Murphy. And so I'm wondering, guys, when you see somebody that, and maybe Frank, you can speak to this a little bit more, but when you're not on the injury report all week long, and then all of a sudden the final injury report, your name appears, is that something to be concerned about?
To me, it is. Because I've been healthy the whole part, and then now something happened in practice that they had to put him on the list for some kind of reason. Something happened that they're probably not telling us, And that to me says that he could go into the game probably banged up, but and whatever happened this week in practice, something happened that didn't happen, the weeks prior to. So I don't like it. I don't know if that's just like a little something that they're playing with us, but I don't like that because we need B. Murphy out there. He's an important part, pivotal part to what this defense does, and I don't like that. That bugs me because
so he's questionable right now. So we'll see.
That tells me there was something serious. Something happened serious enough where it puts him in a position where they have to put him on. They have to acknowledge it, and that to me, I don't like that. I really don't.
Was he limited today, Chierstin? Was he out?
He was. If you give me a second, let me pull it back up. I believe he was limited.
So there's a big difference.
Yeah, he was limited. Yeah.
So there's a big difference between limited and just he hurt his foot, he's out of practice. So listen, if they want to be overly cautious, I have no problem with it because Chicago's not a team. Their passing game is going to set the world on fire. They've got Daryl Mooney, who's a nice player. I don't even know if Allen Robinson's still hanging around, but they're limited at receiver outside of Mooney. And I think you can get by with Marco Wilson, Robert Alford this Sunday. To me, it's going to be dictated by this is an offensive line for Chicago has given up more sacks than anybody, 37 sacks. That's 32nd in the NFL, 37 sacks allowed. Now, I know Justin Fields took a lot of those, but Dalton's not particularly mobile. And you've got Chandler Jones and Marcus Golden. There's no excuse. I expect the Cardinal defense to have as similar dominant performance like they did against Seattle before the bye week. This is such a limited team, Chicago-wise, that, my only concern if Kyler Murray plays, honestly, I don't know if it's re-aggravating injury. I don't want to think like that when I'm watching the game, but it's like, does he force some plays? Because like, as you mentioned, Chierstin, he's been rusty. He wants to just kind of, make a couple spectacular plays and wants to, get a couple quick scores. That's not what's been winning for this Cardinal team while he's been out. Colt McCoy's been by and large methodical and mistake-free. And it's not like we don't want Kyler to be Kyler, but you don't want a Bears team that's really lacking quality talent and personnel to be allowed to hang around because of a couple, careless turnovers by Kyler, who's back and it hasn't found a rhythm yet. So I'm with you, Frank. I like the approach of downhill running attack, pressure defense. I mean, the Cardinals, Chierstin, I love your bet. The Cardinals have won every road game by double digits, so there's no reason to believe they won't cover 7.5 on Sunday.
Well, I do want to take a break. Johnny, you're going to be at the game. Luckily, you don't have to stand on the sidelines, which is really good for you because I do know people here that have to shoot the game and stuff like that, and they could potentially be freezing and drenched. So you get to sit in the press box, get some food, right as you're watching the game. If you're getting tired a little bit, you can just walk over and grab a cup of coffee. So you're going to have it made. Everyone else has to endure the elements, but I'm already super, super, super stoked about the block party that we have coming up on Monday. So that's Monday Night Football against the LA Rams, December 13th, 3 to 6 p.m. We are teaming up with Bird Gang Travel Club and the Lola once again to bring you a block party, open bar, all you can eat, all you can drink from 3 to 6. We're going to have a DJ. We're going to have giveaways. And this is something that has been in the works for several weeks now. And I just cannot wait. We had an amazing tailgate party for Thursday Night Football, but this is going to knock the socks off of that first time that we did something out at Westgate. And tickets, birdgangtravelclub.com, you can still get your tickets, and the sooner the better when it comes to those, because the closer that you get to game day, the more those tickets are going to go up. So get your tickets now.
There is no better party in the NFL than Monday Night Football. Sunday night's cool, but Monday Night Football is like the cream of the crop. And if you're going to get a chance that your team has the ability to show up to the world and you're going to miss this opportunity, don't do it. Get your tickets, come out, support, bring that love, bring that fire, bring that energy. There's no Rams fan, no LA fan that should outshine us as the Cardinals, not in our own backyard, not at Lola's. Man, we just have a great time. Come out because, ain't no party like a Monday night party, especially when your team's 9-2. Can't beat it.
All right, NFL AZ Cardinals says, would hate to see Kyler try to go for a run and slip and sprain his ankle again. Here's the thing. I just feel like you can't think like that. Either the man's ready to go or he's not ready to go. But by no means should anybody, Kyler, Cliff, his teammates, fans, us, be sitting there thinking, oh, well, it's gonna be raining. I would hate to see somebody slip and hurt themselves. It's just like, if you're ready, go out and play the damn game. But you can't be like having that mindset, That's my opinion.
Yeah, just don't call any design runs if you're Cliff, but have your quarterback there to do what he does best. And this year, that's sling it from the pocket. I'm with you, Chierstin. Like, are we gonna be nitpicking this for the rest of the season? There's a good chance they're gonna have to go on the road at some point in playoffs, and that could potentially be to a Green Bay in late January or early February. So to me, it's if he's good enough to play, I don't care if the game's in freaking Timbuktu. You should start him, and like he's 100% healthy.
But some people in the chat here, we've got Logan Riley saying, "Give me Trace or give me death." Of course, that's saying, give me backup quarterback.
Give me death, then. I want to die if that happens.
But then Ryan Anderson here saying exactly, I'd rather have him skip another week to ensure no aggravation. Trace McSorley is not seeing the field. Colt McCoy would be the one to see the field. So let's just put that out there. But some people think sit Kyler another week.
No,
did he have his leg amputated?
No, it's not that. Kyler's fine. We missed our quarterback for almost 4 weeks to play right now. Look, unless it was that severe and they just didn't tell us, then there's no reason why he shouldn't be healthy enough to get out there and basically turn around and hand the ball off at least. You got to go out and I agree with you 100%, Chierstin. You just got to go out and play football. Football has to be played at full speed. If you're not full speed, then don't play. But this is a game that we need to find out. We need to find that rhythm back where all our pieces are back. And if we got our pieces back in our stable, then we need to get these guys out and let them go. Here's my thought. We talk about us and what we're going to do to them, but let's just think about it. Let's just back this up a little bit and say, what is the Bears going to do to us? And in my mindset, I think the Bears are going 100% pressure. They're going to have every intent to stop the run on the way to the pass. I expect them to bring a bunch of pressure from every angle to basically try to corner Kyler where he can't move out of the pocket, but they can get a lot of pressure because they know he's not as mobile. They're going to test his leg to see if he's healthy or not. And at the same time, if they feel like we're going to run the ball down their throat, then they're going to stop the run by blitzing and trying to stunt dog. And that stunt dog is where you have the defensive tackle and the defensive end continually moving and crossing and moving and turning like that. So, look, this Bears team is wounded. They've tasted a little bit of victory, but in truth, they still have a desire to come out and punish us. And if they can get a win versus us, everything that they have, they're going to throw at us. But I believe in us. I believe that our players are better than their players. JV says it all the time. And without a doubt, I believe we can come away with the win. But this should be a very good game.
The Bears are coming off an enormous win over the winless Lions. So, yes. I mean, they are just so thrilled. All the momentum, us against the world. They can beat anybody at this point.
Yes. Anything can happen on a Sunday. Look, it takes a little. I know it's cliche any given Sunday, but you guys know, like I know, we saw Carolina Panthers walk in here and spank our butts. And all it takes is a little spark. It doesn't take much. It just takes some bulljive to feel like you go out and you put pressure on the quarterback. You get our quarterback down. You're whatever the defensive plays are being called that's happening. The weather is in your favor. You live in Chicago. It's cold. It's wet. And the ground is not as it's not as easy to run on or maneuver on. And so those things can give you some momentum. I believe that our talent is better, but we have to have a good game plan. We can't take for granted like we did against Carolina and think that we just can walk out and beat this team. A win is a win, but it means a lot to a team. I've been on a lot of losing teams, and when we got one win, it meant a lot. The next week, we might have still got our butts kicked, but it still meant a lot in that locker room. So hopefully we'll come out focused. We're talking about a team that has a chance to do something special. And we always talk about it on our show on PHNX and says, this is a chance to seize the moment. Don't take it for granted because we could really be a really special team. This could be a really special season.
Ryan Anderson asking, does anyone know if Rashard Lawrence is activated for this Sunday? That helped the run game a lot. He is not. He's coming off IR, but he will not be out on the field on Sunday. So
Monday against the Rams, they're targeting.
Yeah, they're targeting, but you never know. So Andy Dalton, officially the starter, does that, if we seem to think that so much of the focus for both teams is going to be on the ground, does it matter? Did we want to see Justin Fields or did we want to see Andy Dalton?
We wanted to see Andy Dalton. The quarterbacks that have given this Cardinal team fits this year are the ones that can manufacture running lanes on the ground. I mean, Trey Lance is not a good thrower of the football, but he was basically an athlete playing quarterback. And he kept that game close because he could run around and scramble. Same with whatever the hell Carolina tried it out with Cam Newton and their backup quarterback. Those are the issues that the Cardinals have right now. They're not athletic enough. You know, I say this with all due respect for Marcus and Chandler, but those guys are over 30. Those kind of quarterbacks are going to give the Cardinals problems. Not problems in the sense that I think they'll lose when they play those QBs. You would rather have a statue-esque quarterback like a Dalton, like what the Cardinals saw a couple weeks ago with Jimmy Garoppolo, like suddenly an immobile Russell Wilson, right? Like Ryan Tannehill week 1, where they can tee off and light up their opposing tackles. And to me, this is a supreme matchup for Vance Joseph to be able, again, to solidify himself as a major player in the head coaching search after this season. I think I would be very disappointed against this Bears team. Now, they can run the ball a little bit with Montgomery, so that will remain to be seen about how the Cardinals' run defense holds up after the bye. I would be very disappointed if the Chicago Bears got over, let's say, 14 points in this game. They're not equipped to throw the football vertically, and if they try 5 to 7 step drops with Andy Dalton, he should get lit up with the Cardinals' pass rush.
They're so thin at receiver too. It's just like, I feel like the only thing they really have going for them is the ground game. And I mean, I don't think a one-dimensional team is going to be able to beat the Cardinals. I don't care if it's their weakness or not, but it's just not happening. Or it shouldn't happen. All right, before we move on, I want to tell you a little bit more about the Draftkings Sportsbook app. Customers can get skin in the game with same-game parlays, which combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more likes you add, the more money you can win. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want, which is the reason why we use it exclusively here on the PHNX Cardinals podcast, because there's nothing really to worry about. If you decide you want to deposit some money and then you say, I don't know about that, never mind, just withdraw your cash whenever you want. That's the DraftKings Sportsbook app. If you haven't downloaded it yet, please do so using the code PHNX. We'd appreciate it. All right, guys, any final thoughts on this matchup that we have not gone over? I think it's one of those games where it's just like, how much do you have to really say about it, because it's a crappy team that the Cardinals should be able to beat outside of, the weather. You could throw in like, historically the last couple of years, they haven't done well off the bye, and the weather's going to be really crappy and that could affect them. But outside of those storylines, if you want to grab onto them, this is a game the Cardinals should win easily.
Yeah, absolutely. The people in the comments, I think, said it best. The Chicago Bears are going to be missing a multitude of quality defensive players. There's no Khalil Mack, right? Hakeem Hicks, who's a tremendous defensive tackle, could be out. They could be missing Roquan Smith, their all-pro inside linebacker. This is not the same as when the Cardinals lost to Carolina's defense, which Carolina's defense, legitimate top 3 to 5 unit. The Bears defense is pretty middling, and they're getting worse as the season goes on because they're losing players. They've got Robert Quinn, who's a nice pass rusher, but outside of that, the Cardinals play their game, and most importantly, play mistake-free turnover football. If they don't turn the football over, they're going to win this game handily. The only way the Bears keep this close is if the Cardinals, Rondale Moore, somebody like that, fumbles a punt, Kyler throws an interception, errant throw in the pocket, something like that. But man, you have an opportunity to come out and basically remind everybody around the NFL that's kind of fallen asleep on this team that this is the major player in the NFC with number 1 behind center.
I said last week when we watched it, or week before that when we saw when we lost to Carolina, and I said that it's up to the coaches to come in and stress how important it is to get our mindset ready to go in the bye week, and the bye week with a win. But we have to go to Seattle and take care of the business. And I say the same thing again, that it needs to be stressed that the leaders on this team has to step up to the table and push these guys to focus and not take anything for granted. We're flying to Chicago. We got one task. That's to get a W. Everyone needs to have their minds focused. We need to play 4 quarters of football. We need to bend, don't break. Everyone needs to be in their lanes. We need to be doing our assignments, and we need to come away with a win. And I think that, to me, right now is the leadership has to step up again. It's on the road. We can't take for granted that every time we get on the road, we walk away with a win. This team is not going to give up. I mean, we just need to make sure our leaders are speaking the right things. And I think that would be something to be said. And I think that would be something that these guys will definitely try to display. If they do that, we should come away with a win, and it shouldn't be a big deal.
Low Tone Capone asking, over under, we see both Kyler and Colt on Sunday. I mean, I still am sticking to, so personally, I think if Kyler's good to go, then you play him and you don't really mess around with that. Maybe you guys have a different perspective on it.
I agree with you 100%. He needs 4 quarters. He hadn't played. I mean, if the game is out of hand early, then we're 23 to 33 to zip or 33 to 7. Then you want to give your quarterback a break. That's fine. And then you know what you're going to do. You're going to do ball control offense. You're going to feed him a dose of JC all day, and that old line just pounding. So I'm cool with that, but not necessarily. He needs 4 quarters of football. He needs to get himself back ready and be able to, get his mind ready for 4 quarters versus the Rams as well.
If we see Colt McCoy and Kyler Murray on Sunday, then something's gone horrifically wrong with Kyler Murray. So I'm going to go way, way under in the hopes that, God forbid, if we see Colt again start a game, at least that that we'll probably see Kyler Murray hopefully the following week. If both of them play on Sunday, it means that Kyler re-aggravated his ankle. So I'm going to go under. Kyler Murray finally comes back, plays well, and wins.
All right, let's wrap things up with our score predictions. I'm going 21-10 Cardinals.
I will go, I think Cardinals are going to 27-13 Cardinals.
Ooh, man. I wasn't ready for that.
Not that hard.
Although it was on the readout, I still, dang it.
Yeah, I know, Frank. It was in the rundown I sent you, man. We were busy golfing.
I just, I'm just trying to get a dub. I was trying to get my internet together. Look, my backdrop's a driving range. Look, there you go. 31-13. I'm taking it. Skrilla, I got it. 31-13. I'm going with his.
I like it.
JC,
I would love to see it.
Defense gives us 2 touchdowns, and JC gets 2 touchdowns, and then we go from there. I like that.
I do think you're onto something. I think this definitely could be a game where the Cardinals defense scores. Love that.
Ooh, that'd be nice. All right, Frank, are you actually going to go golf, or what's happening here?
No,
but hit the driving range behind you?
Look, I got a range. I'm at Coco Pelli Golf Course. I had to pull over and just make it happen. Look, I'm not hitting the ball. I'm going to grab a drink. It's been a long day. I hate stressing you guys out. Look, I stressed y'all out today trying to get on the internet, and I finally got here. So I'm happy. Y'all look
We'll just
great.
plan for this moving forward, that this is what we'll do.
Look, every time I watch y'all on podcasts, I think y'all backdrops are absolutely beautiful. And then I see my backdrop right now. I'm like, man, this is beautiful.
It looks good.
It looks good, Frank.
I love it.
Lighting's good.
I'll be doing it again. I'll be doing it from probably some other golf course next time.
They're going to start charging,
I think. A new golf course. Pick a new one each week.
That'll be my goal.
All right. Well, Johnny, safe travels to Chicago. Frank and I are going to hold down the fort on Sunday at the PHNX studios, but can't wait to see you guys on Sunday and get to talk some Cardinals football and hopefully about a Cardinals win. If you guys have not hit that subscribe button on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, please do that and follow us on social media at PHNX_Cardinals, and we will see you on Sunday.